Let me be honest, I know next to nothing about football. And just to make it clear, I'm talking about American football, not soccer. I know that there are some international viewers that might get confused about that, and let's face it, we Americans are not the center of the universe, despite what many people may claim. But I digress. I'm just saying this up front because I want to make it clear that there is a clear bias. If I was paying for the ticket myself, this would not be the film that I would choose to see. However, if my film and culture class at my college has taught me anything, it's that any good film should be able to pull an audience into the story, even if it's about a subject matter that wouldn't otherwise interest them. That said, this film didn't really win me over. I'm sorry, it didn't. I'm just saying that right now, and yeah, let's just begin this episode of Romney's Reviews. The first thing that I have to mention about this film is that it uses a lot of wipes. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna demonstrate what a wipe transition is, like that. That is a wipe transition, and this film uses a lot of them. And it's not like the smooth George Lucas sort of wipe either. It has like the annoying, obnoxious black line, and while it worked for the style and worked really well for the phone scenes, because the phone scenes were actually really well shot, as it made it look like the people were actually walking around and talking with each other the way they would do in a normal dialogue scene, there it was actually used really well. But there are some moments throughout the film, and I know this may seem like a minor nitpick, it did get annoying when, for example, they would have the wipe appear when they were showing the text introducing the different towns and what sports teams they were home to. I mean, if you're wiping from one shot to another, I can understand. But if it's the same shot and you're just putting the text in, you don't need the wipe there. Or at the very least, hide the little annoying black line, because really, it's annoying. There were also some scenes in the film that may have sounded like a good idea when reading the script, but in execution just don't really work really well because they can kind of be unraveled by the most basic common sense. A lot of it was really just drama for the sake of drama, and it just did not work too well. It just slows the film down and detracts from some of the stronger moments of the story. Adding to that, you could tell that this film was effectively trying to have that scene. And by that I mean the one scene that, oh, this is the scene that everyone's going to be quoting, that everyone's going to remember, that this is going to be the scene that leaves a landmark on the film history. Yeah, it kept trying to have scenes like that, and it was very desperate. It was kind of pathetic. I mean, they had not only one, but like 3 different scenes where they kind of tried to have something quotable. I mean, it's the same thing I saw in Lawless. It was a very desperate attempt to create something memorable. Except, it wasn't that memorable because there's too many of them. The film is not without its moments, though. I mean, it bookends really well with Costner's character talking with the manager of the Seahawks, kind of having that bookended, and it also has some good comedic bits. The strongest moment of the film, at least in my opinion, is when the actual draft day starts, when they're actually drafting the players, and everything kind of plays out in almost a Sorkin-esque sort of execution. That, in my opinion, would have to be the strongest scene of the entire film. And if the film focused more on his strategy during the draft instead of trying to have all this ancillary drama on the side, it probably would have been a stronger film. Now, the one comparison that most reviewers are probably going to make with this film is that this film is very similar to Moneyball. However, the big difference between Draft Day and Moneyball is that, one, Moneyball was based on an actual, series of events that actually happened, and it had the mathematics to back it up. Whereas Draft Day is fictionalized and doesn't really base the actions on anything except for what has been lifted from business movies in the past. That's pretty much it. Now, you'll probably get more out of it if you're actually a fan of football, if you actually follow the draft and stuff and are actually interested in this sort of thing. But to be honest, it didn't really sell me on it. Yeah, it had its moments, with the draft scene in particular being the strongest moment, but other than that, the film itself is just not all that memorable. I mean, it's a decent film, has its moments, but it doesn't really warrant much more than a casual viewing on Netflix when you're gearing up for some sort of Super Bowl party or something. That's pretty much about it. That said, I give Draft Day a 3 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews, and given that I'm kind of pulling a Ronaldo dos Santos and taping this ahead of time, I can't really tell you what I'm going to be reviewing in the next episode of Romney's Reviews. I'm literally shooting this the same day that I shot my review of Need for Speed, so yeah, we'll just see what comes up next on Romney's Reviews. See you next time.